8 years on from their royal wedding, the Hollywood guests in attendance have been revealed to have fully rejected Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, with some even describing her as the cheapest and claiming that no one even wants to hang around with her. The Daily Mail, asking the question why Meghan and Harry have been ditched by A-list friends as insiders, reveal Oprah's merciless snub, why the Clooneys now want nothing to do with them, and how she is the problem. Now, of course, I have been reporting for many years about how Hollywood turned on Harry and Meghan. What the Duchess, and I call her the fake Duchess now, never understood is that the reason these people attended the wedding was because she was giving them an opportunity to have proximity to the British royal family. And these Hollywood celebrities are awful. They don't do real friendship. Oprah don't do real friendship, okay? Trust me. The Clooneys don't do real friendship. Neither do the Beckhams, actually. Neither does Idris Elba. It's all about what you can get. It's all about how this positions you, how something enhances the brand. And so even the few people amongst that small group who actually think Harry and Meghan are nice people, that is, again, a very small portion, don't want the connection because the connection isn't helping. Their agents, their publicists, their studio executives are saying, I'm sorry, if you are linked in an article, if you are photographed with these two, actually your box office potential weakens. And no one wants that. It's the Blake Lively effect. Okay, no one wants that. Taylor Swift doesn't want to be associated with Blake Lively anymore because it hits the bottom line. And very few celebrities will take the risk of their bottom line being hit. But it was Alison Boshoff who has done this new work alongside Paula Frolic, who'll be here on Thursday, by the way, for the Daily Mail. And I want to take you through it because she reports, for much like the schism that has developed between the couple and the Hollywood elite, Meghan and Harry have fallen out with so many showbiz power players that said they have no bridges left to burn. A significant number of the Sussexes' high-status friends have now also removed themselves from their orbit. Not that Harry and Meghan believe that this could possibly be their fault. They don't get it. They never think it is them. One associate of theirs tells me. So where once there was a warm connection between the couple and those powerful friends in the pew, there is now, if not outright, anger, a puzzling distance. My source tells me they love famous people. They are very name-droppy. The association gives them a kick, but if someone stops calling them, they don't ask why. And think about that, because you could see it in the Netflix documentary, right? When they got the text message from Beyonce. You could see how that gave Meghan Markle such a list, because deep down in her soul, she knows she's a D-list cable actress who Beyonce would never have been given any time for. But the reality is that now these people are running away. Like Oprah. Even Oprah, who got the interview and got the invite. And Alison Boshoff reports things are rather chillier. While Meghan has definitely been to Oprah's house, I am told by a source they are not as close as they once were. Indeed, the relationship appears to be existing on a hair's breadth for one reason. As well-connected broadcaster and former Page Six columnist Paula Frolic of News Nation tells me the truth is Oprah has been long-arming the Sussexes for some time. She can't let them drift too far away because if something happens, one of the three big Ds, divorce, death, or drama, she will want the interview. But she is not actually friends with them.
As Meghan Markle's Hollywood dream hit an unexpected wall, 4 years, the Duchess of Sussex appeared surrounded by some of the biggest names in entertainment. Talk show icons, award-winning actors, global sports legends, powerful media executives. But now, a growing wave of commentary is raising uncomfortable questions. Why do certain celebrity friendships appear far less visible than they once were? Why are royal commentators suddenly discussing distance between Meghan and some of her most famous associates? And what does it all mean for her future influence in Hollywood? Stay tuned, because this story is generating intense debate on both sides of the Atlantic. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties, Many believed they were uniquely positioned to become one of the world's most influential power couples. They had global name recognition, media attention, high-profile connections, and access to elite social circles few people could ever dream of entering. From Hollywood to Silicon Valley, doors appeared wide open. At the time, many observers predicted a future filled with blockbuster projects, major partnerships, and powerful celebrity alliances. But years later, critics argue the reality has become far more complicated. Much of the current discussion centers around Meghan's relationship with high-profile public figures who were once frequently linked to her and Harry. Names like Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, Idris Elba, and Serena Williams often appear in media discussions. Royal commentators have pointed to the fact that many of these relationships are no longer as publicly visible as they once seemed. Supporters argue that's perfectly normal. Celebrity friendships evolve. People become busy. Public appearances become less frequent. Not every relationship needs to play out in front of cameras. Critics, however, see a different story. They argue the changing dynamics reflect broader challenges facing Harry and Meghan's public brand. And that's where the controversy begins.
And that's so cynical, isn't it? Who wants a friendship like that? Who wants a transactional friendship where Oprah is keeping you there, sort of hanging, in case you get divorced, in case there's a royal death? It's truly grim. And Boshoff says her source is blunt about Oprah's dissension with the Sussexes. The bottom line is Oprah only likes people when they have something to offer her. Honestly, I think she might be worse than they are for that. And that's saying something, because the thing is, even when people go down a dodgy path, if they're nice people, sometimes Hollywood will keep them close behind the scenes. But Hollywood knows that Harry and Meghan Markle are awful, that they treat people terribly. Like, that's the absolutely overwhelming thing, especially since the falling out with Netflix and Ted Sarandos. The Clooneys, actually, and I will give them credit, I'm not fans, but they realized this long before anyone, really. And Boshoff reports that the Clooneys, who live between New York, LA, London, France, and Italy, found space for Meghan on their private jet, a luxury which would be well beyond the Sussex pocket. And retired tennis champ Serena apparently picked up the huge tab for the Swishmark Hotel. This is when they were in Lake Como. An associate says this kind of gifting from friends is very much the done thing for the Sussexes, whose money troubles have only grown since the end of their lucrative Spotify and Netflix deals. They ask for a lot of resources to be spent, as they believe it is a privilege to be in their circle, says a source, adding they think they are entitled to all the private planes. The source also believes that Meghan is cheap or stingy in British parlance. She is the cheapest, the insider claims. The burgeoning friendship with the Clooneys ended, however, with Megxit. The source says the Clooneys now want nothing to do with them. Certainly, Harry and Meghan have never been invited to the Clooneys' annual fundraiser, the Albies, which honour humanitarian work, nor have the Sussexes, who regard themselves as prominent humanitarians, ever won an honour, which appears to be quite a snub. And this from Paula Frolic. George and Amal Clooney were never friends with her. They have literally nothing in common and side with the actual royals. And isn't that so shocking and embarrassing for Harry and Meghan that they invited people to their wedding who they were never friends with, who they never had anything to do with? The cringe is off the scale. And the Clooneys, as I said, I don't think they're great people, actually. But again, they want the real royalty. Now, someone who is a nice guy, actually, is Idris Elba. I used to know him a little bit. And he DJ'd at their wedding. And Boshoff reports for the first time that that friendship has ended in the same way for the same reasons. And that is because Elba has been a prominent supporter of the King's Trust. And again, I reported this previously. Idris Elba is doing a Netflix show with the King. He made his choice. And he's actually a nice guy. Like, there's a lot of people in Hollywood who are really horrible people, right? Like, so many. And Idris Elba is not one of them. He is actually a decent guy. And it's the decent ones who realized very early on that they didn't want to be part of this circuit. Have you noticed, by the way, things have even cooled with James Corden, who was right there at the heart of the wedding, even emceed the wedding. Now, before the Clooneys, I will give credit to the Beckhams, David and Victoria Beckham, because when it was still trendy to be friends with the Sussexes, they decided to withdraw all association. And Bolshoff reports that some have speculated the snub was down to Meghan, who believed the Beckhams were beneath her. They were said to have fallen out more when Meghan suspected Victoria of leaking information about her to the papers, a suggestion which apparently made David rage. In contrast, things have been far more equitable between the Beckhams and other royals. David remains close to Harry's nemesis, William, and is closer yet to King Charles. I mean, we saw them together, didn't we, this week at the Chelsea Gardens show? The friendship with Harry has, you could say, been allowed to tail off. Well, I'll actually go much further than that. David and Victoria Beckham were completely disgusted with the way that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle acted. And sure, they blame Meghan, but it doesn't mean that they accept that Harry acted in the right way. I mean, for God's sake, he got David Beckham to fly halfway around the world with his sons to Sydney for the Invictus Games and then refused to meet with them. Now, Meghan wasn't anything to do with that. That was on Harry. And it was also totally delusional to believe at the time. Remember, at the time I was reporting on all of these people for the Sun newspaper that Victoria Beckham was ringing and leaking stories. She wasn't. She wasn't. I wish she was. She wasn't. Perhaps most intriguing is the fact that Serena Williams has now turned as well. And she hasn't turned in the sense that they're no longer friends at all. But are they close? Alison Boshoff says no. And she writes, the other big star at the wedding, tennis legend Serena, introduced Meghan to her agent Jules Smoller in 2006, when Meghan was an obscure actress writing her blog, The Tig. I hear Serena is fine with the couple. Fine. That's what you call damning with faint praise, isn't it? But they definitely aren't as close anymore. While Serena was at the wedding with her husband, Alex Ohanian, she has since put distance between herself and Meghan because I'm told she is not a drama queen and she tires of it all. Apparently, Serena's new bestie is social butterfly Emma Thin, the Marchioness of Bath. Serena posted with her at the recent Met Gala, along with Meghan's ex-best friend, former Vogue editor, Edward Eddingfull. And of course, we dealt with that in full the other day. And certainly, Serena is making a real point by saying that her loyalties lie with these people who are rivals to Meghan or who have fallen out with Meghan. Boshoff goes on to say that Meghan's formerly close friendship with Canadian socialite and stylist Jessica Mulrooney has also ended somewhat spectacularly after Mulrooney got caught in a racism storm over an argument with an influencer in 2021. Her TV show was cancelled and so was her relationship with Meghan, who had made her chief bridesmaid yet did not speak publicly in support of her old friend. The Duchess's old agency boss, Gina Nelthorpe Crown, who represented her in her Suits years, once remarked, Meghan moves on, and so it proved. Many others who in 2018 had seemed a part of their clique are also no longer in the Sussex gang. Meghan's colleagues from Suits were at the wedding in force, but only Abigail Spencer appears to have stayed close to Meghan. A handful of close relationships remain. Elton John is still very tight with Prince Harry, although it is observed that it is a Harry relationship rather than a Meghan one. And he does that out of loyalty to Princess Diana. I've spoken to Elton John about that, you know. He is very pro them, but it's from that basis, it's from a historic basis. He has no idea about what they're like day to day. It's also interesting he no longer sends his private plane to bring Harry and his family for holidays at his Saint-Tropez home. It is. So her house executive Marcus Anderson, who was instrumental in the early days of the couple's romance and honoured with a front row pew at the wedding, is still very close to Meghan, staying at their Montecito home and going on family holidays with them. One source says it is a genuine relationship and he says they are lovely people whom he cherishes. Another, though, offers it's for clout. They made him. From what I can see, the people who have stayed most loyal to them are beneath them and get something out of it. Everyone else they fall out with. And that's the thing. Marcus Anderson isn't a celebrity. I mean, the only reason anyone has ever heard of Marcus Anderson is because of his connection with Harry and Meghan. To our royal mastermind, Angela Levin. I mean, it is absolutely damning, isn't it, Angela, when you think 8 years on, all of those celebrities who were invited now have nothing to do with the couple. And even the ones that are sort of in the wider orbit, and I'd put Serena Williams and Oprah Winfrey in that category, don't really want to have anything to do with her.
No, I think part of it is that because they're involved with the King's Trust, that they don't want to actually upset the King and come across anything that can be an argument or Harry demanding something. So they've just decided these are the people who are giving towards the charity and making people who live in the street to give them a chance. And that's where their first thank you becomes. And so they don't want to do something with Harry and Meghan that might upset the king, or he could make some very rude things about the king, and they don't want to hear that either. So they've left that, and so it's very clear. They also don't like the way that Harry has been attacking the royal family. I don't think that these people who are rich but also kind and down to earth, they don't want to be involved in a nasty argument.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Angela, though, to have someone who was a bridesmaid, I mean, your chief bridesmaid, I mean, the problem is it's none of these are one-offs, are they?
No. I mean, Meghan makes a mistake all the time because she says rude things about people if they're not actually high enough in what she thinks is very important. She feels that she's absolutely the most important woman in the world, and she's the cleverest, and she knows everything. And I think this going to find nobody was interested in her talking about children the other day. I bet she can't believe it, but she does feel that, she'll go 10 times more people will be there than Catherine, but she's wrong. And she doesn't understand it. She cannot understand. And the people who don't want her, who find her rude and actually just thinking about herself, she doesn't understand it. She goes on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. She just won't accept anything. The only time I've ever seen her really scared is when the four of the children they were looking at after the Queen's death, and Catherine was giving her the most terrible looks. And she was really scared. Meghan was really scared. And she was just fiddling with her hand. She didn't know what to do. And that's the only time I've really seen her scared. And I thought, well done, Catherine, because she's doesn't show that.
Yeah, because
That she's
Catherine had
not
the
going to
measure of
let
her by then.
somebody. Pardon?
Catherine had the measure of her by then.
Yes, absolutely. And she wouldn't have anything to do with her. So that's the time she's really scared. And I think that she finds it very scary with the royal family because they're all dignified and behaved very well. And she doesn't know how to handle it. If she sort of tried to learn, Harry told me that he tried to talk to her about things, and Camilla told me that everybody tried to look after her at the beginning. She wouldn't have it because she knew all about it. She knew how to run in a royal family, and of course she doesn't. So she's made a huge mess of it. Huge.
No, she
Serves
really
her
has.
right. Serves her right.
It does. It does serve her right. Now, Angela, Prince Harry, I mean, for people who don't know, you were Prince Harry's biographer, and obviously the Invictus Games was such a big part of his legacy. But this Invictus Games now seems to be in crisis ahead of the event in Birmingham in 2027.
Yes.
Now, you're hearing, Angela, that Meghan Markle is currently intending to attend, but she's going to arrive late.
Well,
And yeah, this comes at a difficult time, right, for the games. What's going on?
Well, she will never let it be known by her, so she keeps everybody not knowing if she's coming or if she is coming. It's very secret and actually, But I think that's how she's going to do it because then she can make a big entrance. But the thing is that Birmingham hasn't got any money, and Harry and Meghan are demanding lots of money for clothes for Meghan, for hotels, for traveling, and that's what they're demanding, and they can't have it. And the other thing that's happening is that a woman called Melanie Poole, a distinguished member of the Board of Trustees for Invictus Games, has left her role as vice chairman, which was a heavy blow for Harry, and she's not on his side. And I'm not surprised. That way, she's got out of it. But I think the whole thing about Invictus Games is Harry to absolutely be unpleasant to his father. I'm sorry to keep on saying that, but you can just read it through. He wants to give the speech. He wants to show everyone he's much better than his father. But the thing is that it's Camilla's 80th birthday at that time, and I think he will be absolutely unsure whether he should pop over, whether he should not. I hope he doesn't, because I can see that Meghan will arrive late, so she'd have the speech, not the king. And I think it's all sort of plotted out that they'll get it, and he will have been left at the top of the building and not doing anything, So I hope he doesn't come. But actually, the people who are involved in this, the ones who've been wounded, they don't want to do it anymore because they say nobody takes any interest. They just take interest in Meghan and her clothes. So that's not very good either, is it?
4 years, celebrity endorsements carried enormous value. A photograph, a public appearance, a supportive quote. Sometimes that alone could generate worldwide headlines. When Harry and Meghan first arrived in California, they appeared surrounded by enormous interest from entertainment and media circles. The couple's profile seemed unstoppable. Yet as time passed, critics began asking whether some of that enthusiasm had cooled. Were expectations too high? Did certain projects fail to deliver the impact people anticipated? Or was the media simply exaggerating normal changes in personal relationships? Nobody agrees on the answer. But the questions continue growing louder. And what makes this story especially fascinating is that it's not really about celebrity friendships at all. It's about influence. Hollywood runs on relationships. Connections matter. Networks matter. Reputation matters. The ability to attract influential supporters can determine whether projects succeed or struggle. That's why every perceived shift in celebrity alliances attracts so much attention. For critics, reduced public interaction with major stars is interpreted as evidence of declining influence. For supporters, it's simply evidence that Meghan and Harry are focused on their own path rather than constant celebrity validation. Both arguments continue fueling debate, and neither side appears willing to back down. What's often overlooked is how difficult Meghan's position actually is. Inside the royal family, visibility came naturally. Every appearance generated headlines. Every event attracted global coverage. Outside the monarchy, the rules are different. Attention must be earned repeatedly. Projects must succeed. Audiences must remain engaged. Public perception becomes increasingly important. That challenge would be difficult for anyone. But for someone as globally recognized as Meghan Markle, the scrutiny becomes even more intense. Every friendship is analyzed. Every absence is questioned. Every appearance becomes a headline. And every headline creates a new narrative. Meanwhile, public opinion remains deeply divided. Supporters believe Meghan continues to be held to standards that few public figures could satisfy. They argue criticism follows her regardless of what she does. Critics argue repeated controversies have damaged public trust and weakened her influence. The truth likely depends on who you ask. What cannot be denied is that Meghan remains one of the most discussed public figures in the world. Years after leaving royal duties, she continues generating headlines that many celebrities could only dream of receiving. And that alone demonstrates a remarkable level of public interest. Perhaps the most important question isn't whether celebrity friendships have changed. It's whether those friendships ever mattered as much as people assumed. Because public influence ultimately depends on audience attention. And despite years of controversy, debates surrounding Meghan Markle continue dominating headlines around the world. For better or worse, people are still watching. So is Meghan Markle truly becoming isolated from Hollywood's elite circles? Or are critics mistaking private relationships for public rejection? The answer may be far more complicated than either side wants to admit. At its core, this story isn't about one celebrity, or one friendship, or one headline. It's about reputation, influence, and the challenge of building a public identity after leaving one of the world's most famous institutions. Whether Meghan's Hollywood ambitions ultimately succeed or fail remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The conversation surrounding her shows no signs of ending anytime soon. If you enjoy royal news, celebrity drama, and behind-the-scenes analysis of the biggest stories involving Harry, Meghan, and the royal family, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next royal headline could be even more surprising than this one.